No,
Whose
just water.
whose mic is on?
I should have a glass.
I mean, on your sandwich.
uh, Silvermoon's
Uh,
was
oh, okay. So Blue, if you are the wizard, can you give a brief overview of what we're doing with the ritual as well?
yes, I will be
Okay.
happy to.
Perfecto.
I am really looking forward to all of our workshops today. There are some
Oh, that's
interesting sounding workshops here. I am going to mute my mic. Someone needs to keep life interesting here on our live stream. Yay, more people. Greetings
hello,
and
Astra.
salutations, Apprentice Lux and Apprentice Astra. Welcome to Gray School. June Midsummer Moot. Woot woot.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are streaming live already, so just to let you know. And I shall be back in just a moment.
Well, it's taking some time to materialize. So
Oh, you are looking very stylish in a new red suit. All right. Well, I'm excited I made it in time for the ritual.
All right, we have Sayla who just came online, and we're still waiting on Skywalker, Prefect Skywalker. Oh, I really want to start without him. Okay.
Hello, Arthur. Hey, everybody, be sure to pick up your bracelet from the gift giver underneath your flag, underneath your banner.
I will be back. Oh wait, maybe.
Oh, if you want to do my
Oh,
my
hello, Sailor.
front left pants pocket has earbuds.
Has anybody heard from Prefect Skywalker
If not, just
or Apollinaris?
I have it muted. I'll have it muted as much as possible. There'll only be one spot which I won't have it muted.
No, not yet.
And that's all.
Okay.
But you'll know because I'll start talking.
Well. Oh, there he is. Oh, wait. Give him a second to come in. Um.
Riverdale, you want to get started 10 after?
Yep, I was just thinking that I think we might. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to our 2021 Midsummer Moot. Everybody, feel free to come in and take a seat, and I'm sure we will have some more people that gather in over the next few minutes, but we should get started at this point.
And those of you who do not know, we are live recording this, a live stream. I have a live stream application up and running right now. And so just FYI, we will save this for posterity.
We have some moot gifts at the back, flame or not flames, but lodge specific, flame specific for me. So feel free to go and get your gift, and we shall begin. How is everybody doing this morning?
Good, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Very good, very good. I am going to make a few announcements, and to start off with, I want to recognize first of all our provost and Dean Ad Servio up on the stand here, and so first off, I want to mention that actually that is in 2 weeks we have a first in a very long time physical conclave. I do not believe that it is too late to RSVP to that, but that will be happening up on the conclave grounds in the manor at New York and Whitehall. And so we look forward to seeing anybody who can make it to that event. I also wanted to mention, as a routine matter that we have every Wednesday we have our meet and greets hosted by each of the individual lodges. Uh, I have really enjoyed going to these and meeting fellow wizards and interacting and making new friends. And so those are typically on Wednesdays at around 6 p.m. Second Lifetime. Also, in the virtual world, we have had some wonderful virtual classes, and it seems that we are picking up more and more on these opportunities to actually be in classes and learn, not quite in person, but almost. And they will be live. They are live. Um, we have our gray matters. So keep an eye out for our newsletter that is released periodically, and it gives different contributions by some of the apprentice body. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to some of our great clubs. We have the Ritual Club, and we have the Defensors Club, and the Homesteading Club. So if those interest anybody, then we would love to have you join these clubs and participate. And again, another opportunity to meet up with fellow wizards and have a good time and learn. And also wanted to mention that we have our Magic Alley, the store, that you can go and purchase different items of magical nature. And they have robes, and they have an assortment of different things to have there. Um, and then lastly, I just wanted to mention that we have challenges every month, and some of our prefects, well, all of our prefects have put together some challenges that are, um, by taking those challenges, you will participate more, and you will. They're great fun. We also have challenges put up by staff members, and there's no shortage of challenges that we can take. Um, and by completing those challenges, uh, you also get merits for the lodges. Um, Speaking of merits for the lodges, I want to give a huge shout out to the Waters Lodge. Uh, they are really tearing this up, and I think that is quite awesome. Uh, so, without further ado, I would like to turn it over very briefly to Dean Edservio for some comments or announcements that he would like to make.
Thank you very much, Captain Beavidell. First of all, it's a pleasure and an honor to see everyone assembled here today. Seeing our hardworking apprentices, our apprentice leadership, and my co-administrative deans here along with us is always an opportunity to celebrate and to appreciate the ties and the connections that bind us all together as grade school and as wizards. And it's always a deeply valuable opportunity, speaking for myself personally. In terms of announcements and things that are coming up, we do have a few things I'd like to let you all know that you can look forward to enthusiastically. We have recently added some new classes to our alchemy department, and there are more classes coming to that department to expand our ability to share the ancient and honorable art of alchemy with all of our apprentices. And I've recently been coordinating and working very closely with our provost in order to add some shape and some structure to our natural philosophy department. There are more classes that are currently being planned for that department in order to deepen our ability to share that particular aspect of wizardry with all of our apprentices. And of course, there is the ever ongoing effort between myself and the provost and the department deans in order to continually refine and reshape and improve the curriculum of our existing classes and majors and minors in order to ensure that all of our hardworking apprentices and our magisters have access to the highest quality magical education that we can provide. So, with that being said, I think that concludes my brief remarks and my announcements. I'd like to reiterate my thanks and my gratitude towards Captain Reed Vidal for being the prefect in charge of this moot, and towards all those who have labored so long and so hard to make this moot a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Provost Kingsley, do you have any words that you would care to add?
I would, if that's all right with you, Captain.
Absolutely.
Well, excellent. Good form. Well met, wizards. What a time we have here together today. Indeed, these days are sort of the coalescence of many efforts that have taken us to this point. 17 years, just about, of wizards before you have come and learned and gone and made this day possible for us. Today, I wanted to focus a brief moment of our time on the contemplation of what lies ahead and all those most interesting things yet to come. I believe the poem by, goodness, I can't remember his name, but I think it's Camporoso or Camporos, or something like this. It goes, "Summer solstice, a new born poem. The cock heralds far and wide, and the dawn of this day is known." It's in these moments where we're able to take just a brief pause and I think appreciate all that yet is to come. And in Midsummer we have the longest day and the great observance, and this point where we have the most light. And in that most light, there's, I think, many things we can draw from it. But if we herald back to our lessons in Wizardry 100, we have the light in the cave, and I think maybe that can apply here as well. And at this point of great vantage, where all that lies before us is illuminated, we take the opportunity to plot the course ahead. So what is coming next for the Grey School of Wizardry? Well, many things, rest assured. Currently, we're working diligently on acquiring accreditation. We are putting together in-person classes here at our physical campus. We are putting together our physical conclave, and of course having these marvelous moots. In addition to this, Zoom classes and vGSW courses will continue, and we are working harder than ever to ensure that wizardry is both trade and philosophy applicable in not one bit of your life, but all corners and facets. As a wizard, our service is to our communities, and those things, it doesn't end. We're continuously a part of them. Some people join them, some people leave. Some people are born in, and some people pass out. And it's in their memory and hope for the future that they maintain this energy, and our ability to live and be in these communities is kept forward. So with that, I hope that we have a marvelous moot today. I look forward to seeing all that our apprentice leadership has accomplished, and as always, a very blessed be.
Thank you, Provost. I am really excited for where the direction of the school is going and some of the new things. I'm really excited about a lot of the in-person kind of things, and the virtual campus is just a wonderful tool that we have. The more I use the online Second Life campus, the more I appreciate it, and I think it's just a fantastic tool that we have. How is everybody doing?
I'm just delighted to be here, and I'm incredibly excited to hear about some of these things that are coming up for our school. I was really excited to hear that we're pursuing accreditation. That is truly fantastic.
Absolutely. That actually is very exciting. And one thing I would like to note as well. Uh, so maybe a month ago, I took a trip out to New York to see the manor and to see the conclave ground. And one thing that just made me kind of smile inside is when I was driving to the conclave ground. Uh, I I just looked on my map just to plug in the address to where I was going, and I didn't actually have to even search for the address or anything because on Google Maps it says the Gray School of Wizardry. Um, so so people just getting on their phones and whatever else, they'll in the area they'll get on their maps and they'll say the Gray School of Wizardry. Now that's if you're
That's cool.
very unique. I thought that was a very nice touch. Um, and so
Very much so.
the conclave grounds are beautiful. They are there. There there is something very magical and mystical about that space. Uh, and it's just something that you have to come to see. And like I said, we do have a physical conclave coming up. Uh, so I would encourage everybody uh, to check that out.
That is just so exciting. And honestly, you know, to hear that the manor and the conclave grounds have just really like come to life with this incredible magic makes me so hopeful for what Gray School will become as it continues to grow in the future. I mean, it would be wonderful to have a physical school in a castle, which I know is something that has been a dream. So I would absolutely love to see it happen. And as things continue to materialize through the hard work of the people who have their heart dedicated to Gray School, I think that it's a possibility, a real possibility.
Well, I couldn't possibly say anything about that, but there's a castle down the street.
Which looks beautiful.
Well, and I have to say that, the magic of wizardry. Wizards learn magic, and we breathe magic, and we are magic in many ways. The realization of our agency and the kind of coming to terms with this being a force for change. And change is potent; it can go in many directions. But that realization, there's power. And we learn many different types of magic here at the Grey School, and we learn about the models and the way they work. And one of the potencies a wizard brings to the table that is uniquely theirs, perhaps, is a deep and intrinsic understanding of community and the value in building up the people around us. In that work that we're doing, it's for those who we serve. I think in this way, in this realization, that magic is something that brings us forward, and we'll continue to avail our efforts. So I want to thank each and every single one of you for being enrolled at our school and doing the best you can in your studies and participating in events like this, because it builds that community and strengthens us all. Good point.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that when the world needs wizards, that wizards will come and they will just show up and appear. And I think that that's what this whole school and this movement is all about. It's just the world needs wizards right now, and we're showing up. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. And so with the with the castle possibly in sights, and with the physical conclave and the accreditation, this all is building upon, I think, just a tremendous and a wonderful era of magic and of just wonderful things to come. It's really easy to look at the world and be a little bit pessimistic. And I'm going to tell you, I am extremely optimistic for the future of mankind. I think that we might have some rough patches, and this last year has certainly been interesting, to say the least. Um, but I think that as more wizards come in and as we move into a more magical era, I I'm so excited. I can't wait for what we can do together. What we can do um, is not me. It's not the provost. It's not uh, any individual one of us. It's what we as a group can do, and uh, it takes all of us. It takes all of us to have a movement. So I would like uh, yeah.
Great.
Thank you. How is there anything that anybody would like to share from some of their courses, some of their classes, personal life? Um,
Well, if I may, I would love to just kind of riff off of what you were saying because I think it was so beautifully said. And I've so enjoyed the sentiments that were being offered here because I think that they are so potent and they hold such hope. And I think that in many ways, Litha, the longest day of the year and a day of fire and passion and spark, really is a day of hope and a day of like a light in the darkness. And I just think that as we move forward, especially as we move forward in what many would consider to be dark times, right? Not necessarily everybody,
Yes.
but they've perhaps been darker than our usual times. Um, I think that it's going to be wizards who really carry forward that light in the cave. And some people would say, oh, we're entering the information age, the age of Aquarius, right? And we're going to be all based in our heads, but I don't necessarily think that's true. And I think that wizards are uniquely capable of taking knowledge and information and turning it into skill rather than being sages up in their ivory tower locked away from the world. Wizards are the masters of applied knowledge. They are the masters of um, taking experience and turning it into lessons and then gifting it to the world to help better it, help guide heroes, help shape community, turning obstacles into stepping stones, as our delightful provost might say. And so I think that I think that as everyone might say, this is a time when wizards are deeply needed because of our unique skill sets. And so I'm just so excited for what this school of wizardry can do for the world and for our individual communities.
Here, here. Good form.
Very well
Absolutely.
said.
Oh, and I have an announcement on some merits, by the by.
Oh.
Flames Lodge and Winds Lodge have both earned 10 merit points for participating in Concrete Construction Days. So I'd like to congratulate you both for putting in the hard work and doing what needs to be done to help build the concrete grounds. And memorials will be put, not memorials, but monuments, I suppose, very small ones, will be put up to both Captain Levedel and Captain Emeritus Malcor for their diligent work on helping us build some of the major staircases that lead to the grounds. And of course, Arthur Kingsley has been slaving away at it, and I take a lot of his credit, so good form to him as well for the hard work he does for our school.
Did Malcor take a trip up to the conclave grounds?
Yes, he was here
And-
just yesterday.
Ah. So I knew that he was planning on that. Uh, so that's absolutely fantastic. Uh, it's a little bit of a journey to get up there, but it's a worthwhile journey to take.
Well, the best things lie at the end of quests, so you've got to be able to go on that bit of a trek to find the treasure at the end.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Is there anybody that has something they would like to add?
Actually, if I could just throw in two things for uh, the Stones Lodge. We are potentially on track to do Lumos this term. I'm really excited about it, but I need everybody's help. So, all the Stones that are watching or attending, please check the forums. There's lots of information. If we pull together, we could all win this term. And then the other thing is that we are building a collective history of the Stones Lodge, and I would love everybody's input. Things that you've experienced as an apprentice, you could share with new apprentices coming in. It'd be a great way to help new students kind of get their bearings and figure out where to go and how to do things, and just feel connected to the lodge. So that's also on the forum, and it comes out in the newsletters every month as well. So watch for that.
Excellent. That sounds like a good idea for every lodge.
I agree.
Thank you, Prefect. Yes, I did see that that the Stones are on track to be able to do the Lumos.
We've still
And
got a
I
few
think-
requirements to meet, but yeah, we're definitely moving in that direction. Okay, what is a
Oh, the
megapode?
Probably.
megapode!
What is a megapode?
I keep
Oh,
hearing about the megapode, and I don't know what that
Tell you
is.
if you don't know. Nope, you're not initiated in the secrets, then you can't possibly know. But I'd say Google it. Come on.
Yeah,
Google it.
It's
The
it's
megapode
from
is
Terry Pratchett's
Pratchett's Discworld.
Yes,
Oh.
it's the book Unseen Academicals, and it's a game
Okay.
Isn't that from
play.
Rincewind?
Well, it's so once every 300
Specifically.
years, the wizards of Unseen University chase the megapode, which is described to be a gangly thing that looks as though it might possibly be a bird or something else. But that doesn't really matter, because the game that they play is that the senior faculty get piggyback rides from the junior faculty and chase one member of faculty around the school until they tackle him. And that is the Hoda Megapode game. And it's good for the bones. And so that is what that is.
Oh, the megapode.
Speaking of Terry Pratchett, and by the way, Provost, I was just noticing that I have one credit that is now available on my Audible. So I'm thinking I will download and listen to. Which Terry Pratchett book would you recommend?
All
There are
of them?
many good ones. I like them all very, very much. But the one that I started with, the one that my mentor gave to me to start with, and so this might be a cool journey to go on too, is I believe it was Guards, which follows the exploits of Sam Vimes as he goes through things. And there's a very funny sequence revolving around a dread port. So it's quite good.
Yes.
I
That was my
I
first one as
was
well.
looking through I was looking through his list of works, and it is a long one. Uh,
Yeah, I
so
think something like
some
36 books in the Discworld series alone.
yeah. So is there anybody else that has any good book recommendations? Uh, I saw there was a post in the forums a few weeks ago about that, and it got a lot of attention.
The Harry Dresden books are no are excellent. They get a
Headmaster
smidgen
would
adult
recommend
at
those.
times.
Yeah.
He likes those a lot.
Yes,
I love those.
yes, those are a long time favorite of mine, and a somewhat similar series of works, if you enjoy that kind of urban fantasy, is the Rivers of London series by uh, Ben Aronovich.
Mmm. Good form. I don't have any other more books to recommend. Oh, the Young Wizard series is quite good by Diane Duane, is it?
Yeah, Dwayne. Those
Yeah, she's quite good.
yeah, those are also a long time favorite of mine. I read them when I was a child, and I still hold them pretty close to my heart.
Oh, absolutely. Now, granted, I haven't read them since I was a child, and so I don't know if they held up, but I remember them very fondly. I thought they had a great, the Wizard's Code or something like that in the beginning of the first book. I think is really,
Yes,
quite excellent.
yes, the Wizard's Oath.
Yes, the Wizard's Oath. That's it. In service to life and for life's sake, and all this sort of.
Yes,
good
exactly.
things.
I had that as my background on my computer for quite a long time.
Oh, that's excellent. Can you recite it for us?
No, I certainly cannot.
Uh, I just finished a book called Rhythm Alchemy. It's a little bit more in the nonfiction section, but it's a wonderful. It starts out kind of slow, but towards the end it gets a lot more interesting, and it makes a lot of correspondences and a lot of different connections within the alchemical realm, and it all has to do with rhythm and how things move and the patterns that things have when they move and how that applies alchemically. It's a wonderful book. I would recommend it. So
Yes.
yes.
Dresden Files are.
What
if we're
was that, Blue?
talking,
I said Dresden Files are awesome.
Oh,
Vice Captain McWaddle had typed in the chat that the interested in it. All of these should be posted on the forums. That forum post about what's everybody reading, I believe, was the title. And
yes.
that is an excellent place to go if you were like, okay, I would need a book to read, or oh, I love this book and I want everybody to know about it. Jump on that forum post, or write
Yes,
a book review and submit it to Gray Matters.
Yes, please do.
Has anybody had the chance to pick up our headmaster, his new book?
Not yet. It's on the top of the list.
Yeah, it's on my list at Amazon to probably purchase in my next batch.
I like it very much, and I would recommend it.
Very good.
Question, Captain?
Yes.
Will the Headmaster's new book be available through Magic Alley?
That is a question for not me. For the provost
yes,
or Arthur.
I believe they are working on getting more of the Headmaster's books available Magic Alley, last I had heard. So I always start there looking for any books by any type of magical book. I investigate the books they have available at Magic Alley. And
if
then
you
go
don't
from
see
there.
what you want, please send Arthur an email, because if you're looking for reference materials or things things to help you in your studies, so not fiction series that you really think is cool and that we should carry because you're like so totally awesome, but something that has to do with your academics. Send a message to Arthur, and we'll try our best to get those in stock and do what we can to facilitate your learning needs. Same with reagents, you know, if we need more hoodoo ingredients, or if we need, you know, more stones or more incense, whatever it is that you think we need up there, please send your suggestions and we'll work as hard as we can to get those up on the store at as low a price as possible so that you can practice your magic efficiently and affordably.
The
There is
magic. Oh,
an
sorry.
excellent assortment of herbs are there. I have purchased most of my magical herbs from Magic Alley. Excellent prices, and their stones are a wonderful size for the price. I was amazed. I could not find a better stone place nearby.
Are robes still available on Magic Alley?
They are indeed.
And how does the sizing work on that? And do you have them in stock, or do you or are they drop shipped, or how?
Just got them in stock. And I can pull up the page here on Magic Alley if I go to Art Goods and then go to Wizard's Wardrobe. We can go down to the school robes, and we have the way sizing works is all there. So you can see the smallest chest, 38 inches overall length, 59.5 inches sleeve length, 24 inches. So if you had an extra large, the largest the company makes at the moment. We're petitioning for a larger size, but they're a European company, and they don't like sending fabric over, so. But double XL would be 48.5 inches in the chest, overall length 67 inches, and sleeve length 28 inches. You can always, if you don't, so like at the Conclave, for example, we have a dinner that is formal, or your, not formal regalia, but your school regalia is required, so your robe, and it needs to have a patch on it. If you can't, if you don't fit into one of those sizes, if you can't afford one right now, you can always make your own robe. It needs to be in Abraxas style, and there's actually directions for how to do that in your grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard. Let me pull this off the shelf here if I can find it real quick. It is in, I think at the beginning of the book, as I recall. So there's instructions on how to cut and sew your own robe, and that is acceptable as well if you want to use that. It does need to be black, so it's got to fit in the regalia colors and all that sort of stuff, but absolutely something that you can do.
So, I do not have a black robe, and I don't really have a, because I think I'm pretty much on the road, until I get to the Conclave. Am I going to be able to show up and get a robe at the?
Currently, you can, yes. Oh, I just dropped it.
Okay.
So yeah, right now we've got stuff in stock, so you'd be able to buy stuff in person at Magic Alley as well. And if you do, you don't have to pay shipping, which is nice. So
I was actually I was charting my course, and I was looking to see if I could find a Ren fair on the between here and there, so that I could find one. But that sadly does not look like it's going to be an option, no matter how hard I study to find it. Anybody been to any Ren fairs lately? I don't. Some of them are still closed, or.
I believe
Yeah.
there's going to be one near us later. And there may be robes or cloaks available in September at Pagan Pride Day. This year is happening.
Oh, okay.
now just to note, you know, for your regalia, for your school uniform, it does need to be an Abraxas style robe, and it needs to be black. So not just a black robe.
What is Black's style? What?
Abraxas, the long hanging sleeves that come down to a point.
Oh, okay.
Maybe saying it wrong, but if you look at the picture of the road here, I'll find it in the grimoire and I'll share you the page numbers so that you can look it up there.
Okay. The black robe that you have had, does that qualify as that
Not
style?
the one with silver. The black robe that I
Okay.
wear with the Pankadoo's patch on the side, that's the school uniform. So that is
Okay.
the proper robe. And that's the one you get from the store. I could have sworn the instructions to make those robes were in this book.
Is it in the companion
I've
robot?
seen
It
it.
might be.
It's not in the companion. It's in the grimoire. I know I've seen it myself.
Yeah, the sleeve. I've seen the sleeve. I've got an image of it in my mind. I can see it right there. With the
Oh,
page
there is a
numbers.
picture of sleeves in the introduction in the companion. But the actual making, I know I have seen the making of a robe.
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's the tabard instructions. Unit Servio, do you know?
I recall that it's fairly early in the book, like within the first several chapters. I think it's around the same time it talks about your magical motto and this kind of
Yes.
I know that it's in here.
Everyone, pull
Hold
out your
on,
grimoires. We're having a hunt.
Everyone
I'm-
grab
I'm
your
looking.
grimoire.
I am
I
looking.
Find
Yeah,
this thing.
too.
First person to find it earns a merit for their lodge.
I am currently.
Is it on page 22 or 20? Between 20 and 22, I believe.
Yeah. Make your color
Hell
count.
yeah.
That's tabard, but not the robe.
Oh, that's a tabard.
This
Yeah.
is
Okay.
magic.
Hold on.
2 to Galia is in 42
many
to
wizards does it
44.
take?
Who can pick? There is for traveling cloak.
Say now again, Unit Servio.
Page 113.
All flames.
Oh.
Which book? Grimoire or companion?
Oh,
Grim-
yeah. Grimoire.
Ah!
113.
Oh,
Yes,
there,
it is.
yes.
Ah,
It's
There
the
it is.
called an ankh robe in this one, but same style. You don't need the hood though.
Page
You may have
143.
one if you wish.
113.
113.
Yeah, and if you go looking online for this style of robe, you may also find it called a Tau robe, T-A-U,
Interesting.
because
Is that Tau or is it Dow?
T8.
yeah,
Type it in chat.
I will. It's sometimes called a Tau robe because the shape of the robe with the sleeves looks like the Greek letter Tau.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, very good.
Well, there you go.
I am. This has been a good discussion. I enjoy those.
We all learned even more. Good form, and congratulations, Flames, on earning another merit point by way of your quick draw gene here.
So, with that, we are going to be having a ritual in 12 minutes or so, and I believe that there is some last-minute prep that needs to be done, and so
This is an excellent time for anyone to do any short little break items. Grab a drink of water.
Blue, were you going to talk about minutes?
And have you prepared for your role? And are you ready to go?
I have personally prepared and I am ready to go. Terrified.
Great faith in your
Get
ability.
ready.
Great faith in your ability.
It doesn't
Give
matter
me-
if your knees shake if you brace your legs and walk firmly.
I like that. That's quite good.
Give me about 5 seconds. I have to turn my air conditioning on. Hold on, I'll be right back.
at that point you'll have a moment because we will all be slowly finishing up that section of the procession.
Okay, recording
Well,
has
as long as
started.
I'm talking about the stupid things I've done recently, I just accidentally took the water's gift giver thing and I don't know how to put it back.
Don't worry about it. I got it.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Don't give
It's
me more
all.
technology. I just anything more modern than scissors, I just should not be allowed around.
Well, at least I'm not wearing a painting today. So.
If you were, I would wear one right with you. So,
I appreciate
Anyway.
that.
All right. When
So
we're ready.
anyone who ever has a wardrobe fail, you're not alone.
When you're ready, Blue.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to our Ascendancy Ritual. This ritual is to empower our captain of ship. One thing we request is if you are not a ritualist, please mute your mic so that there will be no extraneous noises during the ritual. We will be raising and directing energy this ritual, and you are going to be a procession that follows the ritualists around. Apprentice Arthur Kingsley has graciously accepted to be the person that you follow through the procession. We will be proceeding around the entire campus and through it. You may perhaps be journeying to places you've never been on campus. At the very end of our ritual, we are going to go somewhere that only apprentice leadership usually goes. We will all be going to the apprentice leadership room. And we will be following, and that will be as a procession. We will be entering a room where we must click on a picture to go through. And then there is a teleport circle. If you have never done this before, it's fine. You need to do it because there is a wonderful cave system underneath the Grey School of Wizardry, which you will also be introduced to. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this ritual to raise and direct energies, to grant use of power, and to join our school and its represented energies into one whole. And so, ready, we will begin the ritual. Everyone can be lined up here outside of the Morning Glory Memorial. The captain and I will be here at the doorway. If you cannot hear us speaking here at the doorway, please simply step a little closer so that you can hear our ritual. Captain Riverdale, as the wizard assisting you in your journey today, I have a few questions for you. My first question is, why are you undertaking this journey? Meet with each of the elements. Is it for yourself? Or is it for the school? Or what are your reasons?
as the captain, it is my goal to bring the elements together. And it is my goal to lead everybody within their own element and with each other. I want to have the gifts of the elements so that I can understand the different elements and therefore the varying apprentices at the school as well. And I believe that this is a way that we can come together as one body and as one mind.
That is an excellent goal, Captain. Indeed. How will you help these elements, these lodges, these varied people work together? Will you be balancing? Will you be singling out different aspects of each lodge?
The elements all work together and they feed into each other and they create a cycle. And my intention is to demonstrate how the elements fit together so that we can all embody the different perspectives of the school.
Excellent. And are you ready for this to be an easy journey, a rocky journey, perhaps a path that may go directions you did not originally think it would?
My journey has been wrought with many different paths that I did not expect. And I place no expectations as to the future path that we will be taking, other than I work to prepare for what may come, but don't expect or contrive it.
I believe you are ready to visit the elements of our school. Follow me, Captain. Let's begin your journey. Let's pause for a moment. I believe this would be a wonderful time for some music. Perhaps something suitable for a rising up ritual. Greetings, dragons and flames. I bring to you Captain Riverdale, the captain of the apprentice of...
Greetings, Captain Riverdale. Why have you come to us?
Hail to the guardian of the south, the element of fire. I come before you as your child to seek your boon as I begin my journey through the elements. I ask for your support as I beckon and call the others to follow in my path. Noble dragon of the south, please again lend me your strength as I plead my case to the raven, to the wolf, and to the salmon. Guide me in my words and support me in my deeds. I will represent you with my passion and courage.
As the conduit of the flames and the voice of the dragons, I, Mercado Draconis, grant you the courage to go forth. Grant you the vitality to endure, and grant you the courage to make Gray School a better place.
So shall it be done.
You are
So
the
shall
best.
it be.
You are the best example that the Flames has to offer, and we expect, as well as hope, that you will bring this lodge and our element to glory. So shall it be.
So shall it be.
So shall it be. Come, Captain. This is only the first stop of your journey. Greetings, ravens of air. I bring you Captain Rivendell, the leader of the apprentices of the Grey School of Wizardry. He has a question to ask you.
Salutations, Captain Rivendell. I am Skywalker, son of the Eastern Winds, prefect of the Lodge of the Four Winds, and the representative of this element. I speak proxy for the spirits of the East, the guardians of the Four Winds, and the majestic raven whose wisdom spans throughout the ages. Now, what brings you here?
Hail to the guardian of the East, the element of the winds. Bestow on me your gifts that I may guide and enlighten those I serve. I stand before you in humility to plead my case. To please grant me your support and consideration. I do not take this gift lightly, and I hold it as my sacred honor to be trusted with them. My purpose is to use this power to serve and exalt your lodge. and to bring about its highest potential. As captain, I have committed my support and my work to the betterment of this lodge, and I pledge to you that I will continue to do so. As a child of the flames, I need the air that you freely give to fan and embolden my passion. With you behind me, we can achieve all we set out to do. Will you support me in this cause?
We have heard your plea, and here is our verdict. We grant you with the wisdom and power of the Winds Lodge. May we spread our wings together and soar side by side. You shall be gifted with the wisdom of the air, as well as the power of the raven, to ensure you guide us wisely and use our power with elegance. The Guardians of the East welcomes you with open arms and wings, so that you may protect those you serve. I will walk with you. We will stand with you. All I ask is that you guide us well. So shall it be done.
So shall it be.
this time. Only this time, though.
Shoot.
All right, perfect.
I have the wrong thing.
All right, all you.
Okay, give me. I'm sorry. I wasn't ready. I lied. Give me 2 seconds. Um.
For those that were not here because we had not started live yet, our prefect Salanix has had a power outage and is supposed to be a battery. So we are going to do our best to. She's going to go ahead and start, and here is the link for notes for our workshop. And it is yours if you are ready, Prefect Salanix. If your laptop can handle both your document and Firestorm.
Oh, I was just noticing also that the link that our prefect Sayla has provided us, the slides are downloadable, which is fantastic because that means that you can save a copy offline for you to peruse whenever you so wish. And that is so generous and amazing. Thank you.
Excellent. Well done. There are a lot of wonderful things. And one of our goals for the festivals is to have links for the workshop notes and perhaps even the link for the YouTube recording available on the forums in the files and photos area.
Where is
Our
the?
prefect?
Where's the slides?
Uh-oh. There goes our
The
prefect.
link.
Esther, where's
Yes.
where's the slides?
The slides are in the link that was posted in the chat. So it's at the Wix.2.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, there you go.
So, hi everybody. It looks like our beloved prefect Sayla has having even more connectivity issues. Power outages happen. As I said at the beginning of the ritual, we know you're thinking of us. Everything is fine. Let's all send her comfort and calm. Because when you crash just as you're about to start a workshop, you panic.
Oh no!
There is a link in the chat.
It's a very fantastic link, and the slides are beautifully done, and it will be wonderful. Hopefully, when Sayla can come back and lead us through them. But yes, having just had a brief opportunity to go through them, they look really nice.
They do.
I'm seeing the slides is very good. I usually work with 2 screens, so it's easy.
Ooh, you're one of those lucky people.
Yeah.
I covet a second screen. Sayla, welcome back.
Yay! Our fabulous prefect has returned.
May take her a moment to completely res in and be able to talk. But that's fine. We are all support each other, and we have all had fun with and getting knocked off.
That is true. When I mentioned earlier when our prefect Sayla was saying that she was having to hotspot from her phone and run her laptop just on the battery that it had left. I had mentioned that it reminded me of something my mom might do, and I didn't mean in the sense that it was old school, because no, that's actually quite a clever use of technology. But my mother travels a lot in places where there's not good internet availability, and so she'll have like a hotspot going in like a van that's traveling through like the Yucatan Peninsula, and then have like her laptop in the van trying to do her work, and I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. Why are you doing this?
Speaking of crash and burn, our captain vanished.
Oh no!
But
Okay.
presenter, there's the word. I
I
knew
am
I'd
back,
find it. Is
and I
here.
have my presentation, so we're gonna go. And
Go, dear,
Dale,
go.
if you can record it, I will try to get through this before I crash again. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Okay,
Oh,
here we
really?
go. This is the Big Bang, quantum foam, and morphogenetic fields. In a recent cosmology essay, I was asked to explain my thoughts about the origin of the cosmos. Uh, where do we come from? Sorry. Where do we come from? How did the universe begin? And obviously, that's not a simple question to answer. From a religious or spiritual point of view, for example, creation stories abound, having been handed down through the centuries from generation to generation. Some of these stories feature traditional deities, while others begin with cosmic beings or objects that transform or evolve into life. But they all do two very important things. They explain the creation of the universe and illuminate the purpose of our existence. Shifting to a secular perspective, the Big Bang is the most widely accepted solution to the beginning of everything. There is considerable scientific research to support that consensus. But this theory is not without its problems, and it's those uncertainties that keep us looking for other answers. One example of this is the very recent discovery that the universe is actually heating up rather than cooling down. It has long been believed that the Big Bang would have started with intense heat in its very early moments and then slowly cooled over the eons as everything formed and continued to expand outward, a process often referred to as cosmic inflation. And for a long time, we thought that to be true. But in 2020, researchers at the Ohio State University Center for Cosmology and Astroparticle Physics found that the average temperature of gas across the universe had increased more than 10 times over the last 10 billion years, result of what they referred to as the natural process of galaxy and structure formation. This discovery doesn't necessarily disprove the Big Bang, but it does put a dent in a piece of evidence that proponents have pointed to for years. And this isn't the only problem to overcome. For starters, the initial expansion period implies that matter would have traveled faster than the speed of light, but that's something that the law of physics say is impossible. The theory also predicts a smooth universe, that is, the distribution of matter should be roughly the same regardless of where you look. That isn't the case. Instead, the universe contains clusters of matter, large empty spaces in some areas, and densely packed lumps of matter in others. Big Bang also says that the universe is extremely flat, something that's due to that cosmic inflation we talked about earlier. And in fact, a multitude of observations over the last few decades have suggested that our universe is mathematically close to the critical density for a flat universe. The problem is we assumed that close was close enough, but a paper published in 2019, based on some measurements using the Planck telescope, says that while yes, the measurements are indeed incredibly close to that requirement for a flat universe, they're actually about 5% denser and instead point to a spherical closed system. Now, supporters of the Big Bang Theory have various answers for these discrepancies, and some are really good answers. One is that in those early stages, classical physics no longer applied. Quantum physics would govern the expansion, and at the quantum level, matter and energy is allowed to move faster than the speed of light. Additionally, and of equal importance here, it's technically space or the universe itself that's moving in those early bangs, not matter, therefore not subject to the gravity. Then there's the issue of the singularity that preceded the Big Bang. When we reverse our cosmic history, everything within the universe contracts, pressing down into this tiny little single, incredibly small point, which is called the singularity, till it can't be squeezed anymore. You can't see beyond this point, much like a black hole. So for all intents and purposes, space-time doesn't exist beyond the singularity. In other words, the universe itself doesn't exist beyond the singularity, suggesting that we came from nothing. This violates the first law of thermodynamics, which says you can't come from nothing. Matter and energy can't be created or destroyed. It merely changes form. So where did the sudden and unexpected explosion of energy come from? One suggested theory is that at the quantum level, matter can and does pop in and out of existence. In its singularity state, the universe was as small could get. And at this microscopic level, matter consists of tiny virtual particles called gluons. And these gluons pop in and out of reality much like soapy bubbles sitting on the top of a body of water. This is called quantum foam. The theory is that the early universe, before the Big Bang, was filled with this quantum foam, and all this movement within the foam created an unusual fluctuation, causing some of the particles to coalesce from the larger universe today. And as proponents of the Big Bang point out, the Big Bang theory wasn't intended to actually explain the origin of the universe, only its development, bringing us back to our questions. Where do we come from, and how did the universe begin? There are several alternative theories available. One is the steady state theory. It suggests that the universe has always been expanding because it's always been in a state of creation. In other words, it's infinite without a beginning or an end. Big bounce theory goes one step further and says the Big Bang did happen, but it's not the first and it won't be the last. Instead, the universe is in a constant state of expanding and contracting, bouncing back and forth in an endless cycle of creation. And then there's the black hole theory. This postulates that our universe was created by a black hole within another universe. So we are essentially living on the other side of its singularity. This theory can also be used to support a version of the multiverse theory, which, across all versions, says we are simply one of a multitude of potentially an infinite number. Together, they hold everything that makes up our reality. But I'm going to suggest that we dig a little deeper. One of the fundamental problems with our current collection of theories is that they are limited by their field of study. Creation theories are confined to the restrictions of their respective mythologies, for example, while secular theories seem equally determined to circumvent anything that might be creationist in nature. What I'm asking is, why can't a version or versions of both be true? There are a lot of things we know with a good degree of certainty, for example. We know that energy and mass are interchangeable according to Einstein's theory of relativity. We know that the universe is expanding at an accelerated rate. We know that if we reverse the process of expansion, we arrive at a very small nanoscopic point where everything that is our universe is nothing more than a speck. And we know we can't see beyond that speck. We know that space and time are malleable and can be shaped by gravity. We know that classical physics govern our macrocosm. Quantum physics govern our microcosm. The two are very different. We know that at the most micro level, space is made up of quantum foam with gluons that can pop in and out of existence. And then there are some things we know have a scientific basis, but aren't really accepted as science in those strictly secular circles. We know that thoughts have the ability to shape our reality, for example. Most simple evidence of this is the placebo effect, where the mind heals the body simply because it believes that it's been given an outside cure. Additionally, your mindset can increase your ability to achieve and learn, not because you've acquired new skills, but because you believe that you're capable of the accomplishment. Taking that concept a step further, we also know that thoughts are energy, even if we're not sure yet how to measure that energy. In an article for Psychology Today, Dr. Ralph Lewis wrote that our thoughts are maps representing and corresponding to things that our brains have either perceived with our senses, felt with our emotion, formed as an action plan. Our thoughts, in the most plain definition, are forms of information. Following this concept, Lewis goes on to point out that the brain uses a whopping 20% of the body's energy to do its work of processing all this information, even though it only accounts for just 2% of the body's overall weight. When we're thinking intensively, our rate of caloric burning increases. That means that thoughts are indeed energy, and as we've already established, energy and mass are interchangeable. In other words, thoughts have mass. And then there's the infamous double slit experiment. Imagine a single beam of light is shown on a piece of poster board with two small slits. If light is made on particles, If light is made of particles, and it absolutely is, they're called photons, then you should see two strips of light on the other side of the barrier in roughly the same shape as the
Oh,
slits.
that was the free game festival.
But that's not what happens. Instead, light behaves as a wave passing through the slits and creating an interference pattern as the light waves from the two slits overlap with each other, as if they are connected. Fascinated, scientists tried this experiment again, but this time with electrons, which have measurable mass. They saw the same result. Present
Where
two
is it
openings,
going?
and the electrons behave as a wave, even though they shouldn't,
Program
creating an
files,
interference
Epic
pattern on the
Games,
other side of
Assassin's
the
Creed.
barrier.
Okay, yeah, that's
But
cool.
this is the really weird part.
No, the
Attempt to
but
track those
I was
electrons
reading
as
the
they pass
path.
through the slits,
Okay,
and the wave
that's cool.
collapses. The electrons return to their particle state, and the interference pattern disappears. What makes this so profound is that the only variation in this experiment is the participation of the observer. Without the tracking mechanism, the electrons behave as a wave. Add a tracking mechanism, and the electrons behave as particles. Intrigued, scientists sought to test this outcome even further, and in a subsequent experiment known as the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, that's a mouthful, photons were first sent through the two slits and then split in half, creating identical entangled pairs. Each half was then sent in a different direction, with one half traveling in a direction that was very easily measured, and the second half traveling in a direction that was not so easily measured. The theory was that the entangled halves would retain their connection, and thus measuring one would allow measurement of the other. Since measurement is random and delayed until the very last possible moment, we should be able to track the path of both halves without collapsing the wave state. Despite these extravagant measures, the outcome was still the same. If either photon half was measured, both halves behaved as particles. If not, both halves behaved as waves. And this is why this is so significant. Since we know that the act of measuring is what causes the wave function to collapse into a particle state, and because that measurement is not happening to both halves simultaneously, the entangled photons would either, one, need to know in advance of whether their path information, or two, choose their appropriate state retroactively. In other words, they would either need to foresee future interaction or travel back in time to choose a state after the measurement has been made. And let's move a little further down the rabbit hole now. In addition to all the science we can prove and measure, there's also quite a bit out there that we can definitely observe but haven't yet figured out how to measure. There are countless examples of psychic energy and sixth sense type abilities. Just in my own experience, for instance, I've discovered clairaudience skills that I didn't realize I had, and we've had more than one spirit hanging out in our space over the years. This kind of phenomena isn't limited to just ghost stories and random personal experiences. Physicist Russell Targ co-founded and worked for the CIA-sponsored Stanford Research Investigation into psychic abilities in the 1980s. Social psychologist and professor emeritus at Cornell University, Daryl Bem, spent most of his career testing and proving that things like ESP existed. And the brilliant but somewhat unconventional biochemist Rupert Sheldrake has openly stated that telepathy and other paranormal phenomena should be taken more seriously by the scientific establishment because they are the product of something he calls the genetic field, a collective memory that exists within all self-organizing systems, such as molecules in plants and animals, to direct the evolution and function of that system. If we add all of this to the very public and very publicized accounts of paranormal activity, physical possessions, near-death experiences, and just plain weird stuff like feeling when someone is staring at you, for instance, or thinking of someone right before they call you on the phone, it's not hard to wonder if we really know what we think we know. Because here's the thing, it's not necessary that all of these stories and accounts are true. You just need one ghost, one demon, one indisputable example of telepathy or magic or crossing over and coming back, and we can argue that there must be a place where science and spirituality meet. Because there's more than the universe that either side has the current capacity to explain. This is where I think we'll find the answers that we seek. Maybe the Big Bang was actually the birth of consciousness, the first thought, however abstract or primitive, manifesting into reality after emerging from the quantum foam that fills our space. Maybe the reason that we have experiences like deja vu and gut feelings is because we're intricately connected to a larger multiverse where all possibilities exist at the same time. And maybe the reason that we tend to migrate to the belief that something larger than ourselves is out there is because there actually is something larger than we know how to measure. If photons and electrons can exist as both waves and particles, then why not other aspects of our own reality? Could the gods of our religions maybe be the result of our own beliefs? Thoughts are energy, then what does that energy create? Maybe our gods are simply expressions of this larger energy, collapsing into a physical state that we can recognize and work with. Maybe gods, be it a higher consciousness or actual deities, set the Big Bang and evolution into motion. And perhaps those morphic fields are part of that consciousness, serving as the blueprint for our physical evolution. If photons and electrons can adjust their past state based on future observation, then why couldn't we affect the same kind of changes on a grander scale? Couldn't premonitions be our own higher connection back to guide us in a certain direction? I think the universe is a malleable fabric of possibilities, shaped by both the physics of our reality as well as our own beliefs, thoughts, and focus. Maybe it's not just looking at a thing that collapses its state, but rather the application of energy, of our energy. And we've been using that energy all along, even if it's done unconsciously, to shape the physical reality we see. And if this is true here, then why couldn't it be true in an afterlife as well? We know that energy and matter can't be created or destroyed, meaning that we are eternal in just one way or another. Given that I am more than just my physical form, my energetic self has to go somewhere. Maybe that is the soul, and maybe it continues to create just as it does here. Thank you very much.
Wow,
That's awesome.
that's
It was excellent.
amazing.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry I had to
Thank
go through it so fast. I was just afraid my battery was going to run out.
No,
You made it.
you
That's
did it, and that was fascinating.
All the blue.
And we're live.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome back, everyone, to the awesome mood we're having today. We had an excellent rip and a very informative workshop. I am looking forward to. There is so much information there. I'm gonna need to go back to the recording and replay that several times. That was an amazing workshop by our own prefect Salin Nix. Well done, Jones, I believe. And now we are at my workshop, Transformation via Ascendancy. What we may not have made clear for the ritual we did earlier was we began research for the ritual talking about ascendancy. And one of the themes of this mood was transformation. And those two words just kept linking up in my head. So here's the title, Transformation via Ascendancy. I have a request for everyone. I want everyone to pick up their water and take 3 big swallows. Right now. You have just experienced transformation via ascendancy. You transformed a distraction, thirst, into a focus, feeling the water in your mouth and down. Where frequently we'll feel thirsty, we simply gulp a liquid until we are no longer thirsty. You have taken control of the act of drinking water to quench your thirst. You transformed an unthinking moment into a moment of knowledge and intent. The definitions of ascendancy. The one I really like is a position of power, strength, or success. To have control or mastery of something or someone is synonyms. So think about that. Take away the word position, and ascendancy is talking about your power, your strength, and your success. So basically we are looking at, so for today, we want to look at mastery, meaning of ascendancy. The mastery of knowledge, self, or a moment. And by mastering something, ascending of your previous lack of knowledge. Mastery implies control and improvement over the past. That past can be a second ago. The example we began with was a simple, the mastery of a moment, drinking with purpose and intention instead of acting without thought. When you do this, you can transform any moment of your day into an intentional act of mastery. And it doesn't have to be, not all moments of transformation or ascendancy are going to be profound aha moments. They can be as simple as noticing the liquid you just swallowed. And to break it down into simple terms, to break down transformation. Another aspect of transformation is that most living things do multiple times a day. It's the act of eating. You feel hungry, so you choose something to eat. That is an act of intent. The decision to master your hunger. Your body then transforms the food into energy. A basic semi-autonomous process. You decide to eat, however your body is the one that knows how to turn it into the energy. Thoughts lead to change. That is a very important thing. Thought. It's a great part of wizardry. When you actually think about it, for me, over 95% of wizardry is thinking, understanding, which is thought. And every thought can be transformative, can be about mastering, or it can just be fun. Not every moment of every day has to be transformative or learning. You can just be. One of my thoughts on transformation is that you learn you can transform yourself by gaining control of yourself. I don't know about the rest of you, but in the past year and a half, I have not always felt like I had a great deal of control over what was going on in nature has taken this chance to show humanity we're not as all-powerful as we sometimes think. And so, I have thought a lot about what can I control. There's that thought again. And I have worked to control what I can. To accept what I cannot control. And the wisdom to know the difference. And for those who don't know, as paraphrase from Alcoholics Anonymous, some very key words that they have. And it is very important. Do we want to change things that are large, seem much larger than ourselves and complex and worldwide even? Yes, we do want to try. Everyone who tries adds to the probability that it's going to happen. As wizards, we can transform ourselves, we can help others transform, and together we can transform the world. Which leads a lot into, is not nearly as technical as the previous workshop. Transforming yourself, it can be learning something, such as how to ride a bike, how to swim, memorize a song, learn to play a musical instrument, or just learn how to sit and be still and not fidget and not feel that you should be working on something off your long honey-do list. I need to do. You need to give yourself those moments to allow your mind and your world to catch up. And that's when a lot of the moments of transformation or mastery will happen. You'll have wonderful thoughts come out. I have experienced this in the Ritual Club chat as we work on putting together the rituals. I'll be talking and someone will go, wow, that was really well put. And I'll look back at what I typed and I go, wow, that's a cool thing I just said. And it's like it's totally new to me. I was so invested in that moment that I didn't even realize the complete meaning of what I said. So a part of transforming yourself and mastery, the mastering of it, is stop and listen to yourself. Reread things you've written, messages you've sent people, things you've shared in forum chats. It's fascinating when you're reading and you go, oh, that's an excellent point, and then you look and it was you that did it. And that is a part of wizardry and a part of transformation and a part of mastery. And mastery does not mean I now know all, control, I have finished. Mastery is a continued path that never ends. Because even as we are learning, others are also learning, and we all have things as we help each other transform and master the world around us and ourselves. Does anyone want to share? Did this bring up any thoughts for transformation or moments of mastery that stand out for you? I want a cricket sound.
Chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. We really need a cricket. Apprentice leadership. We need cricket. Excellent.
And we are recording.
Awesome. So I am I'm going to give a short little presentation here, and it's kind of about it's in kind of a similar vein to the ritual, in that it's more about the elements. Well, it's about the elements in a lot of ways. It's about music, but I feel really good giving this presentation after Selah, because hers was pretty scientific and technical, and mine has a little bit of a scientific technical aspect to it, and I was afraid that I might lose somebody. But I think if we all followed along with Selah, then we'll be fine with this one too. So if I do lose you for a second, I promise you, if you just hang there with me, then it'll make sense at the end. So, having said that, so I couldn't figure out this slideshow that I have, and I'm going to give you all a link to the slideshow, but I just ask that you advance the slides at the moment, because everybody's going to be able to advance the slides for themselves, and I don't want to have people get ahead in the slides and whatever else. Can we all agree on that?
Yay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, I got half the room to agree, so maybe that'll work. So
I'm with you.
I had my volume off.
Oh, okay. So let me get this link here, and everybody tell me if you get the link, if it works. And tell me what you see when you get it as well.
So I'm looking at it right now, and it does in fact bring up a Google Doc. And if I just do a quick scroll, it goes through some slides. So I'm going back to the title, but it looks like it's working here. Also, if I scroll toward the bottom left corner, I see arrows that will allow me to advance the slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that screen, is it like the dashboard, or is that like a presentation of slides?
It looks like a presentation of slides.
Awesome. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So, all right, and I'll just tell you when to advance each slide, and let me get the okay. I just want to make sure that. All right.
And we need to get these slides up on. We need to get a link to the slides in the Gray Matters files and forums, so that people offline
we can do that.
Can access.
Like an old professor, you're just gonna be like, next slide, please.
Yeah, something like that. So, I just don't want people to get lost in the slides and forget about what I'm saying about them as well. So that's. But anyway, so what I'm going to be talking about today is called cymatics. Who has heard of this concept of cymatics before? Is that something that people are familiar with at all?
No,
all
this
right.
is the first time I've encountered it.
All right,
I've heard
perfect.
of it, but I've never checked it out and studied it.
Perfect. All right. So, it's a musical concept, and if we just advance the next slide, so cymatics is the study of visualizing sounds, and it's a process of making sound waves interact with different media, and it allows us to understand how sound actually works. It can also be used as a performance to show beauty in the world around us. And there are many different ways of doing this, of which this presentation is about. Next slide. So the most important concept with regards to cymatics or even sound is sound waves. There are several different kinds of waves. People are generally familiar with light waves and sound waves. Um, but the difference between sound waves and light waves is that light waves emit a photon, whereas sound waves do not. Which is just like a little energy packet of light. I guess that's how I would describe that. But anyway, so if you click on the next slide here, this is called a sine wave, and that this is basically how people draw it. This is a very familiar concept of waves and how they're drawn. So the thing about sine waves is they're the most pure form of a sound wave. What was that? Is that uh,
I
can
think that might
everybody
have
still?
been somebody had a
Somebody,
notification. Their mic.
somebody's beeping here. That's all right. Um, so sine waves, they are the most pure form of a sound wave, and all it is essentially is just an oscillating disturbance in a field. And when that sine waves comes into contact with our eardrums, we interpret that as a sound. So waves have frequency, which is measured in hertz, which is cycles per second. So a higher frequency, meaning more cycles per second, they create a different pitch in the sound that we hear. Um, Consequently, a higher frequency of a wave creates a higher pitch in how we hear that. So if you go to the very top note on a piano, that has a much, much, much higher frequency than the bottom note on the piano. And just an interesting note on the frequencies: when we talk about frequencies like in the bass range, uh, that frequency, or I'm sorry, not the frequency, but the length, the size of the wave. A good bass note, a really low bass note, will have a frequency of like 20 feet across. Um, so it's just monumentally huge, which is why when you have a bass note, it kind of fills up the whole room because you don't even let it have it go through an entire cycle before it starts bouncing off walls. And whereas a high frequency is, millimeters, literally. And so there is quite a big difference. The human ear can hear frequencies within the range of about 20 hertz to about 20,000 hertz. And as you grow older and your ears lose their ability to hear the higher frequencies, you might only be in like the 11 to 12,000 hertz range. And the higher notes you just won't be able to hear. I've taken tests and I'm at about 14,000, so I'm losing mine as well. But my kids, they can hear all the way up to close to 20. So the next slide, please. Uh, so this is a kind of wave. Whoops, not. This is a kind of wave right here. We would recognize that as like dropping a pebble into a pond. But there is more to this than meets the eye. So when you drop a pebble into a pond, you're actually getting more of a slice of what is happening rather than a full view of what's happening. And beyond that, if you drop two pebbles in the pond, what happens is those two waves, they interact with each other and create disturbances within that field. So given that this is kind of a slice of what a wave looks like, on the next slide, if you scroll forward, this is more like what a sound wave looks like. um, and it just kind of emanates outward. And the reason it's all uneven is because, like I was saying with the bass note, for example, that wave is bouncing off of a wall, and then it's coming back, and it interacts with the wave, the original wave, and creates another disturbance within the wave, and then that creates more waves, and then those waves bounce out and they bounce back, and pretty soon you have this very complex looking structure that you see here. So if you go to the next slide, uh, if you look at so there are what's called nodes and antinodes, and the nodes, um, they come together and they create interference patterns and actually create different nodes. And it's just like if you imagine two stones in a pond. You can see the nodes and the antinodes there as well, where you can see the flat spots where the waves meet each other, and then you see the taller areas, and it creates this interference pattern. Slide 7, yeah, is that correct? I think we're on slide 7. Yeah, we are on slide 7. I'm sorry,
I got lost. I got distracted.
That's what I was worried about.
My apologies. Our air conditioner was delivered 2 days early. I'm sorry. I had a moment.
Blue, get out. Get out right now. So anyway, it's that interference pattern that I like to talk about and what cymatics studies, because when you have that interference pattern, then you can capture that in other media and show the pattern of how these waves interact and how, the geometry and the beauty that they have. So if you go to the next slide, please do not try this at home. I beg you, do not do this. This is what's called a Rubens tube. And what they do is they drill a whole bunch of holes into a pipe, and they fill that with flammable gas, and then they light it on fire, and then you can see the flames coming out. And as they put a sound wave or a speaker on one end of it and put different frequencies through the tube, and the way that those nodes and antinodes interact and bounce off each other creates an interference pattern. And you can see where the flame is higher, what's happening is you have gas that is more concentrated at that point because the gas is being pushed around within the tube, and where the flame is lower, then you have less gas. And so you create a visual pattern in how the flame is displayed from the holes in the tube.
Sorry to interrupt, Fidel. Stay safe, Astra.
What? Oh, Astra left? Oh, okay. No worries.
Tornado warning.
Oh no! That's not good. So... Let's see. So if you go to the next slide, and this should be slide number 9, I believe. Yeah. Is everybody on slide 9? Okay.
I am.
So what this is this is more of a air kind of way of doing this, and you create this device and you put it on the end of a stick, and you have a like a stretchy piece of rubber or a balloon in a mirror, and what you do is you bounce the laser off of a mirror that's on the balloon, and inside that tube is a microphone or a speaker, and as you create sound waves within this tube, it vibrates the rubber piece and it creates a vibration on the mirror, and then when you reflect that onto a wall, you can see very cool patterns. This is a really cool website, and it kind of talks, and this is where I got these images from on the slide. But if you go to slide 10, you can see the different patterns that are possible, and these are just a very few sampling of the different kinds of patterns that come out on the wall when you put. So if you have like 67 hertz, then you will get that pattern on the wall from a single laser point. I find this absolutely fascinating. So then, if you go to the next slide, we have the earth element. And what people do is they have a plate that they put a speaker underneath, and as they blast different frequencies through the plate, it creates that that pattern of and those, like I say, those are just the nodes, the antinodes, and the interference patterns that is happening within that sound wave to create those patterns. And
awesome.
if you change the frequency, then the sand will reorganize itself into a new pattern because the new frequency is causing that to happen. And so the same thing can be said in water. If you go to the next slide, that is just one example of if you have a speaker in the bottom of a bowl of water, and again, don't do that at home. Don't need anybody electrocuting themselves. But anyway, you create a disturbance or a vibration within the water, and all of those patterns are a result of. And again, if you change the frequency in the from the speaker, then you will create different patterns within the water. So if you go to the next slide, I'm just curious, why is this useful? Why do we care? So besides being super cool to look at, there are some philosophical implications as well. As we are complex beings made up of waves interacting with each other, we can see our impact on the world around us. And we can also see the impact on the elements that we are. An understanding of music is an understanding of ourselves. Now, sometimes when we listen to certain types of music, there's a certain resonance within that music that we can create certain emotions and certain feelings from a song that we might not be able to get any other way. And so if you find yourself listening to a certain type of music and being attracted to that, then it's a very useful tool of self-awareness and self-exploration to say, why am I listening to this particular kind of music? What am I trying to express about myself, or what am I trying to learn about myself or experience within myself? And mastering this, especially through our own elements, it makes us part of the masterpiece of life. And in an alchemical sense, as above, so below, I myself have gained a very deep appreciation of music through somatics. So now I've got one more slide, which is actually a video. And everybody feel free to hit play on that video and then come back when you are finished. Did everybody make it to the
Mute our
video?
mic so we're not all listening.
Okay.
What's that? What's that, Blue?
I'm not sure if the sound will play out to everyone, so maybe mute
Yeah,
our
maybe
mic.
you should mute your mics. Yeah.
Bye.